I've run out of greeting cards, and so I'm just going to make a couple of greeting cards. What I use sometimes is splatter that I will just save from an acrylic painting or the paint left on a palette. Here I've just done a few little birds, an angel, a cockerel. But today I think I'm going to do flowers. And so I will start with a couple of techniques, actually just two techniques, which are fun. So one of the techniques that I really enjoy is to use this coarse salt. What I do is I put the watercolor paint on the paper and then just sprinkle the coarse salt over the paint, and what it does is the coarse salt picks up the paint and then leaves either a circle around the crystal as it has here, or with the fine bits of salt that are not as coarse, you will get these little flecks. And so you have an underpainting that already has quite a bit of texture, and that can help you paint whatever you are going to land up with. So you've already got the start of something that is more interesting. So you just rub the salt off once it is dry, and you can see the texture that you arrive at. So that's one underpainting that I'm going to use. Another one is, again, putting on your watercolor paint, but this time pressing plastic wrap over it and then manipulating the areas where you want lines. So where the plastic raises a wrinkle, then you will get these sharpish lines and lovely texture on the surface. So there you have an underpainting again that is going to tell you what you want to paint in it. And so both of these are as a result of happy surprises with the techniques that you use. So because it is a greetings card, I'm not going to get too involved. I just want very quick images, and I'm going to make those using, actually I mustn't lose too much of the lovely marks that the salt has made. Don't want to go to all that trouble and then you go over it with your paint. Again, I'm using the palette that I always use. I use 2 reds, 2 yellows, 2 blues. Keep it simple, but it is amazing what you can get out of a very simple palette. So you mix together your primaries to get your secondaries and your tertiaries, and it really is phenomenal what you can get from just a few colors. So here I have my flowers. I want black centers to them. So my anemones, don't want to fiddle and faff too much, and then a couple of stalks. You want to vary the colors that you use, the intensity, just to add a little bit of interest. And so you can see the underpainting with the coarse salt is still visible, and it gives a lot of interest apart from these very quick flowers that I have painted there. So there I have a card for a friend. Here we have the underpainting of the watercolor that's been drawn up by the plastic wrap. I'll show you how we do that. Again, with a wash. I think I'll use ultramarine blue for the background. If if the intensity of the pigment is not great, then you'll have a very subtle and very light background color. Here I'm going to use a more intense blue, and I'm going to use more of the alizarin crimson rather than the cadmium red. I'm going to leave some spaces because that adds interest as well. Let's put some more blue. And then we'll get more taken up by the plastic wrap. So place your plastic wrap on the surface and then squidge it around, and you can already see where the paint is being picked up by the plastic wrap. You can manipulate this to form areas of interest and blank areas where you might not want the lines. The plastic is going to form quite sharp lines, which makes it quite interesting as well, because then you're going to make your organic flower forms over that, and you'll get a nice contrast between flowing colors and the straight lines. So there you already get an idea of what it is going to look like. But as I said, the plastic does pick up quite a bit of the color, and so you will land up with a much more muted background. So here I have the greens that I will use as the leaves. And I can vary the colors of the leaves. I quite like this area here, so I'm going to leave that, and I like this area here. This hasn't got much going on, so I will manipulate that, paint into it, and get something going there. Here I have forms already. Let's make petals in that area there. I will often start off with one brush and just carry on with the same brush. Don't go and buy a whole ton, because you'll find a favorite and that's what you'll stick with. If you have a nice sharp point to your brush, then you can get extremely thin lines and your more broad strokes, and so you don't really need a whole bundle. Although when you go shopping for your art materials, you get so carried away that you'll end up bringing home a whole bundle anyway. Again, the plastic wrap gives you these lovely surprises, but as with watercolor, as you just add bits and bobs, areas, you'll end up with these wonderful surprises of mixing. Anyway, don't you just love watercolor? It is such a fluid medium. Well, it is watercolor after all. Let's add some green in there. And again, if we make it quite fluid and loose, it will do its own thing and give us even more surprises. Here we've got lovely sharp lines from the plastic wrap, and so let's not lose that. So whether these are roses, ranunculus, doesn't really matter. And we get a variety going here. So there you have what can come out and what will inform your final painting because of your underpainting with the plastic wrap, giving you some reference points, some areas to enhance. You might want to echo those lines that you have formed by the plastic wrap. And then we can pick up some of this paint on a toothbrush. And it's lovely to have some splatter. It just adds to the overall texture. We can use blue. And we can also use some yellow. So you can use more or less, depending on the overall effect that you want. So you can vaguely see those lines that we started out with. So there I have another card for a birthday or any occasion. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye.